All right. I just said hi and all your names to everybody in the hive mind. You could be getting a +4 because I was muted, but there you go. Neutrino got it and Ops got it. The good guys, you guys are good. This is a good one to have savings throws on. Welcome to Rollback Abortions. No longer available. The reason I'll get the even before savings throws, I'll get the phrase on the thumbnail delivery of the stream out of the way. It says no longer available because every time I scroll past Paul Vanderklay's recent talk with Justin Brierly, where he's got no longer unbelievable across the top, I get excited as if I get to watch a video that's no longer available. And I'm trying that mimetic effect I felt myself on you guys in YouTube. So if you ended up watching this or giving me a click through because of the thumbnail saying no longer available, that is the power of the mimetics and bullshit with which we give you against the savings throws. Welcome, everybody. This is how it goes around here. You have a shanty.
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see doing what is right for me. Just lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
And boy, howdy are you gonna need the savings throws on this one. This is not yet season 4. This is not year 4 of the LARP gate. This is not the fallen version. However, like other than it's called the fallen version and I'm supposed to live up to it, I don't really know what the manifest form of LARP gate year 4 is at this point. And over the weekend, in pondering the potential avenues of such a form, is the material presented in this stream. The thing of it is, well, I should give you savings throws against all of the things of it is before. So let's do that. You're swimming in mind control, particularly if you're watching this show, but also every day and everywhere you go. As such, you deserve a saving throw. Around here, we give it to you by you choosing survival, social, wisdom, or heart. And if it's over 10, you'll be taking half damage from mind control and the rest of the show and the rest of your day. Under 10, you take full damage. But remember, Embody, at least here, we want what's best for you. Welcome to the Hive Mind and the virtually not alone experience. Choose. Ooh, couple of high ones today. Survivalists via the self-die stand-in because I've lost my own survival die. An 18 for you. For you. You made it. Well over 10. Socialists also with prime 19. Look at that there. Lovers of wisdom. Rough one for you today. That's a 4. Hope you got your mute bonuses. Hearts, folks. Solid 15. It's like, I don't know, math. And Indigo Kids, that's a 6 for you. You probably got your bonuses, though. You guys are good at that one. Now, we also have been doing a card for the show lately, and today we'll be using the Blue Church deck. What? The 5 was trying to cheat. We'll be using the Blue Church deck, and I'm glad you guys or so many of you made your saves against the mind control because I don't know, rollback abortions is a pretty serious topic, and that's the question for the Fallen version and LARPgate Year 4 is, should the topics become more serious? Like, once you've cleaned your room, it might come to the point where you determine what level of civic duties a responsible human being has, and maybe that includes the information that I'll be presenting in the show. Who knows? But here's the card. No, that's cheating. Quit. My fingers tried to cheat on the card. Hold on. Sorry. The card for the show today is that. Whoa. Well, hello. The card for the show is the Ace of Spades. Hello. I see the assassins have failed. I'm concerned they may not, or that more will be sent after today's episode. Welcome. Welcome.
Don't worry, Mom. I know all about cannibalism. I saw it on TV.
See? It's okay. We saw it on the television.
Sorry, buddy. Forgot you're in here. Okay. So it goes something like this. You guys are probably. Oh, first of all, ups. Thank you very much. They're more likely to, the more that the call and response is responded to in that way. And look there, ladies and gentlemen, in the house is Kale Zeldin himself. You got that merch figured out yet, Kale? We got the merch. He was looking for merch options on the Twitter. Anyway, okay. Actually, the since the topic of today's discussion, rollback abortions, is so serious. Let's start with the spiritual warfare guide that Gavin has recently provided over on Gavin Palmer with his 88 subscribers.
Now, the outer jihad is this um, seeking to become and seeking out the saints always. And this requires humility. And so there is a pattern which is Christ and a pattern which is Satan. And the pattern which is Satan is the one which seeks glory of the self. The pattern of Christ is that which seeks glory of God. One submits and does the will of God, that's the Christ. One does not submit and seeks to glorify the self. And so this is the relationship between the Christ and the Satan. These are enemies, and they're powerful. And so this is how you do the spiritual warfare, is that we attempt to notice the Satan, which is within all of us, which would want to glorify the self. And we try to practice watching that and being careful with it. And then what I want to encourage is that you say, well, what if I tried to glorify God instead of glorifying myself? What would that look like? What would happen? And what you'll find is that you will.
I find that as a narcissistic sociopath, embodying the glorification of the divine Lord would feel false, and as if I was being deceptive, and I see being deceptive as a flaw, and as a narcissist, I'm not allowed to have those. So I don't know, but for everybody else,
will have less immediate pleasure and gratification as you attempt to glorify God. But what you will find is that you will experience more purpose and meaning in life as you do this. And this isn't something that you have to believe. This is something that you can test. This is something that you can go out and test it out for yourself. You can say, well, what?
All right. All right. That's enough advice for Gavin. Let me get into what that. No, we can't get into what happened yet. You see, the thing, part of what I'm discovering is like you can't jump when you have an unknown quantity for the reception of your communique. You sometimes have to add it. You can't just assume anything they know, and you got to walk everybody. So, in that vein, for those of you who are familiar, you're familiar with the concept of due dilettantery. And that's it turns out that what I mean by due dilettantery, if done by a person with that publishes content into the hive mind or the horde mind or the newsphere or the internet, if it's one of those people, then the due dilettantery is effectively the same thing as what they used to call journalism. Now, the term due dilettantery is because, it's the due diligence is something everyone should have with regards to doing their own research. And so I consider people who follow that, do their due diligence, those are due dilettantes as far as I'm concerned. And that's my origin for due dilettantery. But sometimes it's journalism. Okay, and I have a source, right, that sometimes does some due dilettantery and pokes around things, and what they poked around in and discovered was so disturbing to me that I thought I've considered taking LARPgate Year 4, the Fallen version, into a more serious domain, and I've that decision, the decision to do that, has been deeply questioned, as the service I primarily provide is the atmospheric engineering of the virtually not alone bubble, or so I've deluded myself to believe. But so in the notion that year 4 would be one in which I attempted more serious content, I wrote a script for. Get off the screen, Gavin. I wrote the get off the screen. I said I wrote a script for that episode if it became that. Well, I was in the process of writing the script for that episode if it became an episode, and I got stuck at that line. So I thought maybe for this episode I would go as far as I got, and then just blow the load on everything the due dilettantes fed me without sourcing it at all and letting you guys find it, and maybe continue being an atmospheric engineer and rather than a serious whatever the heck that kind of thing would be. So when I get done playing this following branding and consulting with the Hive Mind chat, we'll go into but why the would be serious first episode of season 4, but this stream instead. Remember,
there is no agency. We want what's best.
This just in. Franco in the Hive Mind has seriously disappointed me. He has seriously disappointed me. He has seen the card, but why? And also seen the thumbnail and the title of this stream, and yet somehow he thinks the W and why is women. I don't know. Sorry. Okay. Wait, but no, still. All right. No more stalling. No more stalling. It's because Kale's here. The reason I'm not stalling and playing more branding is because this man right here. Good to see you, Kale. But why is the overall title of the piece. We don't get all the way. Chapter 1 is Veterans' Kids. It has come to my attention that we have recently, within the last year, begun sustaining mortal casualties in the children of American veterans demographic. It came in the form of video training, internal Veterans Administration emails that remind... okay. It came in the form of video training from internal to the Veterans Administration, and it reminded me of the computer-based learning modules I had to sit through as a Walmart employee. The videos seem to have been created in direct response to a grilling the Secretary of the Veterans Affairs received from a coach in Congress. The SOVA, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, is an appointee of the Executive Administration of the United States government. The United States government is a trinity. Congress makes the law, the executive makes it happen, and the judicial makes whatever they did legal. In the enforcing of the law, the executive branch gets the power to create agencies and appoint secretaries to those agencies that have the power to create policies that determine how the laws are enforced. The coach congressman was grilling the SOVA because the secretary had enacted a policy that made the government pay for and facilitate the termination of veteran pregnancies. And that's something the coach remembers the 102nd Congress as having had made illegal. That's chapter 1. Remember it.
There is no agency. We want
And then perhaps at this point I would play a clip of said grilling thusly.
Clinically proven available option, and we'll do it.
Thank you. While on an unrelated topic of this hearing, I want to bring this up. I want to take a minute to let you know I'm strongly opposed to the recent interim final rule that permits the VA to provide abortion services in every state, even in those states who have prohibited abortion. For nearly 2 weeks now, the VA has authorized medical facilities to provide abortion services to enrolled veterans and certain dependents. At this time, do you know, has the VA medical facility performed an abortion since this has started in the last 2 weeks? Do you know if there's been one?
I'm told that there has been one, yes.
Okay. The interim final rule is silent on abortion restrictions after a certain point in pregnancy. Does the VA have a plan on the abortion procedures up until the birth of a child? How long do we go on this? What's the rules and limitations that you know of?
Yeah, well, thanks for the question very much. And this is obviously an issue that we came to based on one very simple principle, which is the health and safety of our veteran patients, of our pregnant veteran patients. We have created an exception to the exclusion of providing either abortion counseling or abortion services in 4 cases: rape, incest, the life of the veteran, or the health of the veteran.
Section 2. The Dobbs door feint. Despite a vague tingling of civic duty, I paid dreadful little attention to politics. Roddy Piper and Andre the Giant made me a wrestling fan growing up, and as I grew into political age, a wrestling announcer named Ventura got into politics. I took it very seriously when he said politics was just like wrestling, and paid extra attention when I caught documentaries on the unglamorous lives of wrestlers. Faces like Hogan's and heels like Roddy under the McMahon rule. I sit here still marveling at how little talk there is of Trump's tutelage under Vince and the overlap of wrestling audience and Trump's true believers. First, you find out Santa's fake, then that wrestling's fake, and then it's natural to extend that to politics. This may be before or after you find out the sway of those in control of the electoral debates and have your third-party dreams crushed. Even with political attention so devalued, I still caught news of Dobbs, more popularly known as the overturning of Roe versus Wade, or the return of control of the legality of abortion to the states. So, too, did I hear of the swift action in the state of Texas to exercise that control. Having been born under the reign of Set, well into the normalization of broken homes, hearing that the abortion freeway encountered a speed bump served as a glimmer of hope. A glimmer that maybe the West descent. Oh, this guy's a fancy pants rider. Hearing that the abortion freeway encountered a speed bump served as a glimmer of hope. A glimmer that maybe the West's, hey, Sodom and Gomorrah, hold my beer, descent might take longer than my lifetime to play out. That glimmer was a feint. I know the term fainting from sword play, and I'm not left-handed. A feint is when your friend acts like he's going to punch you, so you flinch and reveal what a coward you are. In swordplay, sans cowardice, a feint causes one's opponent to overextend to block or parry, leaving them open to the real attack. So it was with Dobbs. Dobbs was the feint that opened the door for the Secretary of Veterans Affairs to strike at the very heart of the health of American veterans, and he revealed a hidden blade, forged in the DEI Temple office within the Veterans Administration bureaucracy. But why? And then there's the next section. That's where I got stuck, but we'll get there right after this.
I believe that if everyone sees what just a few people become when they wholly embrace their gifts, others will awaken.
Yeah.
The list?
Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room?
I want to cast Magic Missile.
The
room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet.
I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
The blade. Heavily stressed in the leaked training video is the importance of language. And language is key to understanding the hidden blade. I'll note first the penetration point. While illegal and generally reprehensible to the living, there have traditionally been 3 exceptions under which pregnancies may be terminated: traumatic inceptions and mortal threat to the mother. It is within this list of exemptions that the SOVA inserted the tip of the blade, or health. There's a tactic in sales that takes advantage of our human tendency to keep things moving along. The salesman says agreeable things to establish a pattern of agreement in the rube, and then inserts what he wants the rube to agree to. Or health is the agreement being sold and tacked on with incest, rape, and threat to the mother's life, And it sure sounds reasonable that a threat to the mother's health would warrant such the same interventions as the other circumstances. But health doesn't mean what it used to at the Veterans Administration, and that's as far as the cards got. And now for the rest of the nuggets, the due dilettante showed me that you can verify or not verify for yourself.
Is everything all right in here?
Yes, Nanny.
There is no agency. We want what's best.
So it turns out there was an office established within the Veterans Administration where this lady came up with this entire strategic plan for the next 20 years. And it's essentially the establishment of the global health and church rolled up into a big ball. And as soon as she finished, well, maybe not as soon as she finished, but right after she finished, she was hired at the Whole Health Institute. And that's what the official but why card stands for. But the W stands for Walmart. And as it turns out, this is where this ends up is everybody being able to get abortions at Walmart, and it's coming in through the Veterans Administration first in response to the they have to still be able to serve the health of the veterans, even in states where it's illegal because of the supremacy clause. And the thing of it is, when I looked at the entire situation, what I saw is that the right has moralists and the left has lawyers, and things that the way the law works and the double talk, the misuse of language is key, because they've changed the definition of health, because the Veterans Administration has already adopted the whole health model as revealed in the videos, which comes out of Duke University. And the devil is in the details, and the details are at Duke University. And so a famous philanthropist by the name of Alice established the Whole Health Institute, which with apparently the assistance of the Deepak Chakra, and that institute, after rewarding the lady from Veterans Affairs with a position, designed this whole health model, which essentially was formed on the they looked at the law as it was written in the 96 and then formulated a model that would take the greatest advantage of it. Notably about this model, particularly when they show you the visualizations of it, the community has been separated from you, and there's an interim layer of service between you and your family and friends. And that is the crux of the whole health model. It empowers you to make the proper health decisions without the interference of those who love you and their wisdom. Let's see. We have the founder and the reward. And so before this interim final rule policy was written in response to the Dobbs door opening, the Veterans Affairs Administration had already adopted this whole health model, which I find notable for including spiritual health, which I think might be the only out of bounds we have against it. But since that model has been adopted, when anybody from the VA says health, they mean it as defined by that model, not by the traditional method you're familiar with, such as like care based on their symptoms and those financial incentives. Now when I was so that's the crux of the presentation and the piss poor coverage of the important nuggets at the end. Here is now some branding, and then I will have some discussions. I have things to say.
Now, what'll that asshole think of next? Is anybody got a dime? I don't know.
All right, I need more branding than that. Have we done this one yet? Okay. Like since Kale's sitting in the crowd and I wanted to have a discussion period, I think I'll just go ahead and throw this out there and see who comes in. Hey, but so like I'm watching this stuff, right? Like this guy, and if you'll notice, just notice this man's fingernails for a second.
Those it's spelled out in the interim final rule how we will come to those conclusions as it relates to the health of the mother of the veteran that'll be determined in consultation with the veteran's healthcare provider.
Now, aside from his fingernails, and in case I didn't throw this nugget during the rest of it, the powers granted to the position he's sitting in by a 1996 law are nothing more than frightening, particularly the powers that are enabled during a health emergency, such as a variant named after a penis. A penis, apparently. The TrueStream did the research, and the new variant is a Galician word for hey, Kale. Thanks for coming on, my friend.
Hold on. I think it's not working.
Not what? Who? That so like I'm getting riled up. I see this thing. It's like that there was a senator that's a coach that oh, he can't hear, he bounced. Okay, but there's a senator that's a coach that was actually like offering real resistance to this. If you dive in a little bit deeper, you'll find that he's held up military promotions for like 7 months. And if you go into the speech, like if my team of Reapers was into politics, if I had a team of Reapers that was political and would go through these C-SPAN stuff, you'd find that this Coach Tubbs character speaks as though he honors the fact that he's in the position that he's in and the job that Congress is supposed to do, and that there's that level, like that there's anybody giving speeches that are even in the right direction in Congress was a foreign concept to me, because I had written the whole thing off as corrupt. And like, despite the fact that I feel as though I'm in a place where I'm swimming in an entirely corrupt environment, it's hard for me to accept that there are good people in those places, such as Congress, but I let myself like maybe he's a face, right? Maybe it's just a layer of wrestling and he's a face. However, don't we have at least the minimum civic duty of emailing our congressmen saying, "Why aren't you backing that, bro? Are you pro baby death? Are you part of the death?" Uh, I went back through and watched Infinity War because, like, I remember from the Infinity Gauntlet comic series that there's a panel of the comic where Thanos has set up basically temples of human sacrifice, and the gist I got from what's going on in this congressional whatever that I was exposed to, it was like I got a flash of that. They're turning Walmarts into human sacrifice temples, and we're talking about what Jordan Peterson said, but I don't know. I don't know. Is it just more rabbit hole? Like, is it because the thing about there is no agency, right? The score that you should have sensed underlying the whole thing. Well, what that's gonna if you're gonna reveal that, play some more branding. Between the love of my love of alliteration, that thing there, and the fact I just watched Infinity Wars, I gotta say, I really missed that Bill Bixby and the Hulk. Those were great shows. Oh, where were we? Oh, yes. Okay, so like I had this whole fantasy, right? Like I caught a clip of this Tuberville, which is okay. First, let me say about Tuberville, it's Mr. Coach Tubbs, sir, it's terribly, terribly inconvenient. It's pronounced Tuberville, not Tuberville, because I was going to have this YouTuberville thumbnail. It was going to be great, but he's such a great face, right? He's got this doctor on the stand, the head medical guy from the VA, and there's this one part where he asks a question, and then his tongue slides into his bottom lip, like because he's a coach and he used to dip, obviously, like that, and like I just saw in my head like one of the mimetic artists taking that clip where he nails that question and then does that and like making it a giant bullfrog, like and and then we got this fingernail son of a over here, right? This is like a perfect villain. This guy, he's coming for your babies. Literally, that's actually going to happen. And he's got those manicured fingernails like that. It's just, it's a perfect heel. And that, that I see so much from the wrestling makes me hesitant to be like, hey, Reapers, we should probably do something about this. But on the other hand, history isn't over. And we're part of it now. And so it's all a little much. It's all a little much. So maybe I stick with the atmospheric engineering and show you the interesting stuff I watched this morning, including this beautiful coverage on Chomsky by our good friend Hans-Georg Morgen, or whatever his name is. Mueller. It's Mueller.
On the one hand, there's systemic mass manipulation that has the whole population in its grip.
When we talk about manufacturing of consent, whose consent is being manufactured?
We can, to start with, there are two different groups. We can get into more detail, but at the first level of approximation, there's two targets for propaganda. One is what's sometimes called the political class. There's maybe 20% of the population, which is relatively educated, more or less articulate. They play some kind of role in decision-making. They're supposed to sort of participate in social life, either as managers or cultural managers, like, say, teachers and writers and so on. They're supposed to vote. They're supposed to play some role in the way economic and political and cultural life goes on. Now, their consent is crucial. One group.
That's the thing, right? We're in the 80%, but we think we're in the 20%, or at least we want to be in that 20%, right? Is that, am I wrong on that perception? Oh, let him describe the 80%, Grim.
Group that has to be deeply indoctrinated. Then there's maybe 80% of the population whose main function is to follow orders and not to think, and not to pay attention to anything. And they're the ones who usually pay the cost.
Manipulation brainwashes the political class, the 20% of people who think and who actually need to be brainwashed. And it makes the remaining 80%, those who follow orders, compliant. They can simply be distracted by sports or entertainment. Even the journalists, the brainwashers, are brainwashed themselves.
Most
humans are compassionate and loving, gracious, kind, generous people. We are simultaneously greedy, jealous, envious, angry. We're a mixed bag. And if you give one of the human species power, which part of ourselves uses it? Love? Love does not need power, people. It flowers from the heart. Grace? Grace certainly needs no power. Compassion, generosity. No, these are simply things that flow from our good nature. What uses power? Well, greed certainly needs power, doesn't it? If you have enough power, you can take any fucking thing you want. Anger. Oh, anger definitely would love some power, would it not? Envy? Well, with power, whatever you're envious of, you can duplicate on your own. No, it is that negative, unsocial, not life-supporting part of the human animal that needs power. Nothing else needs power. And so we give people power over others through government, through military, and we expect them not to be corrupt. Wake up, people.
That guy was apparently killed. Okay, there's this what used to be known as the teapot, or this part of Twitter, which was like I sort of keep an eye on, to the extent that it's similar to it's a similar entity, a similar egregore, perhaps, to welcome, Cassandra. You missed all the horrible part. Okay, and over in what apparently they self-identify as Teapot is this Michael Corsi fella. And they brought up this fascinating thing called a Keegan scale. I thought we should take a look at as a group. Apparently, it's not an unpopular model for human development. Yeah, and like maybe we should familiarize ourselves how and then it starts with the impulsive mind at ages 2 to 6, then the instrumental mind at ages 6 to teens, then we've been socialized minds after teens and most adults, but then it steps into the self-authoring TM mind with that identifies values and aims to contribute meaningfully, is able to recognize need for and to nurture affiliations, self-guided, self-evaluative, and responsible. And then, ladies and gentlemen, there's the self-transforming mind, fifth order consciousness, able to regard multiple ideologies simultaneously, able to think systemically and embrace complexity, and is attentive to multiple levels. Self, collective, except the whole layer cake, really. The whole layer cake, really. And then I caught ancient old what's his face, which may be the best brief summary of post millennialism David Green has ever heard.
It's the idea that the gospel is going to grow and flourish and take over the whole earth. Basically, the Great Commission will be successful. Prior to all the nations discipled, baptized, taught obedience, the Great Commission will be successful on earth in history. The world will be Christianized. Then Jesus will come. All enemies will be subdued, brought under his feet. Psalm 110, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand. That happened in the ascension. Jesus ascended into heaven, and God told him, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool. So Christ's enemies are made a footstool progressively throughout all history, and then he will come and judge the last enemy personally, death. So at the conclusion of the Christian aeon, which the millennium I take as a symbol of this Christian aeon, this age of grace, the age in which the Great Commission is being fulfilled. At the end of this, Christ will come again and destroy the last enemy, death. The dead will be raised, and we are ushered into the eternal state. So I believe.
I don't know, man. That sounds like more evidence that we done missed the rapture, and we're on our own. We're on our own. Thanks, everybody. I guess this was Too Little Hope episode, but there it was anyway.